Hello, guys, and welcome to Football Fanden UK. Hope you guys doing well out there on this Sunday evening as we've just watched along to Arsenal v Liverpool. Interesting game, as I'm sure you guys would agree. Lots happening and lots to talk about. I'm just going to quickly share on the screen some stats as show me. Bear a second, guys. Let's share it on the screen. There we go. So yeah, some interesting stats for you guys in this one. As I'm going to highlight there, as you can see. Let's get that there sorted. So yes, guys, we're here to talk about Arsenal v Liverpool. Finished 3-1 to Arsenal. With all respect to Arsenal, I respect they won the game fair and square. There's nothing you can do about the officials. But I'm here to rant, guys. I'm here to rant. And why am I here to rant? Because the referee is an arse. An absolute disgrace. An absolute disgrace from the referee. This is what I'm here to highlight, guys. We saw in that game a referee, Anthony Taylor, choose to dish out a yellow card to stamp his authority on the game rather than deal with the foul. There was an incident in the game and it hasn't been highlighted by the mainstream media. I have just watched Sky Sports. They made absolutely no effort whatsoever to highlight this incident, guys. Klopp referred to it, but Sky Sports stayed well away from it. Does that suggest that the mainstream media are buying into the power trip that we are seeing coming from referees? Please do drop your comments in the chat, guys. I will come to the comments very shortly when I'm finished speaking. So I'd love to hear what you guys have got to say about this. But we need to be highlighting this, guys, because this is a disgrace. We saw in that game an incident where Núñez had the ball in the center of the field. He was fighting to win the ball. He was fouled. He was fouled in the center circle in a counter-attacking opportunity. And because he showed frustration towards the referee booked him. Instead of stopping the play for the foul and dealing with the foul, he gave the foul to Arsenal. Now, I'm sorry, guys, but if you go back and watch that game, you can see that clear as it was to me. I would love to know you guys' opinion on this, but in my opinion, it was clear to see that Núñez was fouled in the center circle in a counter-attack opportunity, and because he showed frustration to the referee chose to book him instead of booking for the foul. Instead of stopping the game for the foul and booking the player, the Arsenal player that fouled Núñez. If you see it, guys, he's clearly pulled down on the pitch. It was a counter-attacking opportunity. Now, as I understand the game, guys, and this is how I understand the game, if it's a clear and obvious foul, if it's also the advantage in a game is supposed to lean towards the attacking players. So Núñez is on the attack. He receives the ball. He's fouled. He doesn't get the foul. He shows dissent to the referee and frustration because he doesn't get the foul. And what does the referee do? He books the player. This is an absolute disgrace, guys. And the reason it is a disgrace is because this is a perfect example of referees being on a power trip. They are more focused on stamping their authority on the game than they are about refereeing the game to the standard that we expect. This is a professional referee, guys. Anthony Taylor is supposed to be a professional referee. If he cannot take a little bit of criticism coming from players when he makes a bad decision, then he doesn't deserve to be a Premier League referee. It is not acceptable. And it is also not acceptable that the football authorities, that the mainstream media do not highlight this. This is a disgrace, guys. The game belongs to us, the fans. All we want is to see referees officiating games in a professional manner, to a professional standard. When we see that referees are more bothered about their authority on the pitch than they are about refereeing the game to the standards that we expect, that is when the game is heading in the wrong direction, guys. This is not acceptable. There's no excuse for it. Yes, there was other incidents in the game, and we can talk about them. And if you guys want to talk about them, please do drop your comments in the chat. Please hit that like button as well. I want to hear from you. But for me, guys, it's not acceptable, this. It's just totally unacceptable. How can we keep tolerating referees making these kind of decisions based on their authority and their power on the pitch rather than officiating the game to the standard that we expect? It's not acceptable. And what makes it worse, guys, is the mainstream media are doing nothing to highlight this. And why? Because they're leaning towards staying happy and staying in the click with the Premier League, staying in the click with the football authorities to make sure that mainstream media companies like Sky, BBC, and ITV, Fox Sport, whatever sports organization or TV company it is, they are more concerned about staying on the good side of the football authorities than they are about highlighting the inefficiencies of the football authorities. Well, that's not the case here at Football Fan Den, guys. Here at Football Fan Den, we put you, the fans, first, and we believe there should be an outcry. I believe there should be an outcry to this because we are seeing it creep into the game more and more. Every week that goes by, we are seeing officials dishing out yellow cards to stamp their authority. Now, you guys that are regulars to Fan Den, you already know one thing that grinds my gear in football authorities with these referees, and that is keep seeing these referees booking the managers on the touchline. We've seen that creep into the game more and more in the last 2 years, where managers, they protest, they show some emotion on the touchline, they get a booking. How is that right, guys? How is that right? Football is about emotion. Football is an emotional game. It brings us all to an emotional state. We are passionate as football fans. We live and breathe the game. We live and breathe every moment of our club. We are passionate about the football. We are passionate about our teams. We are passionate about our clubs. And we are being punished for it. Our managers are being punished for it. Last time I checked, guys, we're supposed to live in a free-speaking country. Britain is supposed to be a free country. Freedom of speech, freedom of expression. How can you have that when you are seeing that in the game that is loved the most by the majority of the population of the UK, which is football, we are seeing that football authorities are clamping down on freedom of expression, freedom of speech, and it's not acceptable, guys. It is not acceptable. What is wrong with a manager showing emotion on the touchline? What is wrong with that? How is that threatening towards the referee? Please explain. If anybody can come on this chat, come in the channel, tell me in the chat, tell me how is it acceptable that managers are not being allowed to show their emotions on the touchline. Also, another point to make, guys, it's important. If you don't see this as important, then you can't be a true football fan. When your manager comes out at the end of a game, after your team has finished playing, the decisions might have not gone your way in that game, and the manager might want to express his frustration in the interview, and he's being gagged. That's the bottom line. He's being gagged. He's being told he can't speak out. Because why? Because how do they word it now? It brings the game into disrepute. Well, no, I'm sorry. It doesn't bring the game into disrepute. What it brings into disrepute is the officials. It brings into disrepute the officials. They don't want challenging guys. And that's not acceptable. It's not acceptable. Players are becoming more accountable for what they do and say on and off the pitch. Managers are becoming more accountable for what they do and say on and off the pitch. Even fans now are being watched by CCTV inside the stadium to an excessive degree. You've got CCTV all over that stadium. Every stadium in the Premier League at the top level of football, Premier League, Championship. Yes, all right, maybe not so much down in the lower leagues, but that's more because they can't afford to have CCTV all over the stadium. But we are seeing it in the Championship. We're seeing it in the Europa League. We're seeing it in the Champions League. We're seeing it in the Premier League, that there is CCTV all over these top stadiums. And why? To watch you. To watch you. I'm sorry, guys, but this needs to be highlighted. If you do not care about football, fine, go to another channel. But if you care about the future of football, then this should be a mega issue to every football fan that cares about the game, that cares about their club. Why? Because how is it acceptable that referees are putting their authority above officiating the game in the manner and the professional standard that we expect? It's not too much to ask, guys. This is a simple thing. We live in a country that is supposed to be freedom of speech and freedom of expression. I started getting wound up with this a number of years ago when I seen that managers were coming out post-match interviews and then getting punished for what they do or say in that interview. That is not right, guys. It is completely unacceptable. We need to make a stand. And the only way to make a stand is fans coming together. Fans need to come together. You can write to your club and register a complaint. You can write to the football authorities, send an email and register a complaint. Start booing referees at game more, guys. Why? Because your club have no power to stand up to the referees. They are being suppressed from criticizing the referees. Well, I'm sorry, guys, but if managers aren't open to criticism, players aren't open to criticism, fans are open to criticism, why are the referees being excluded from criticism? It's not right, guys. It is not right where the football authorities are stamping out the right of free speech in football. It is completely wrong. Now, back to the incident that I'm here to highlight, guys. There was a number of incidents in the game. And if you want to talk about it, feel free to drop your comments in the chat. If you saw anything this weekend in games that you didn't agree with regards to referees, let me know in the chat. I want to hear from you. But for me, guys, the one thing we got to highlight is this incident with Nunes. It is not acceptable. He had the right to protest the referee's decision. He had the right to show his frustration. Yes, we all know that Darwin Nunes is a bit of a hothead. That is an issue for Liverpool to deal with. We're not questioning that. We know he needs to learn to keep his composure. We know he needs to learn to keep his calm. That is not with no problem with that. We accept that. But when we are seeing referees making decisions based on their authority, rather than making decisions that are relevant to the game and what is going on in the game, then it is not a surprise to see dissent from players. It is not a surprise to see players showing frustration on the pitch. Please tell me, somebody, why we should be tolerating this from referees. Please tell me, somebody, why we should be supporting media companies like Sky Sports, TNT Sports, Fox Sports, all these different sporting TV companies that are doing absolutely nothing to stand up for the rights of free speech for managers and players. It's not acceptable, guys. We want to see, why are you as a football fan not entitled to hear what your manager of your club has got to say at the end of the game? Yes, we don't want to hear bad language. Of course we don't want to hear bad language. Absolutely. Nobody would condone that. But I do want to hear what the manager has to say at the end of the game. I want the manager of my club to be able to come out after the game and express exactly how he's feeling about the game and how it went and decisions that were made in the game without feeling like he's going to get a fine, without feeling like he's going to get punished by the football authorities for simply saying that he feels that the referee had a bad game. How is that right? How is it right that a manager has not got that freedom to say that? You know, it beggars belief, guys. I am stunned that nobody is highlighting these issues. I am stunned that other YouTubers are not making more of a big issue of this. I am stunned that the mainstream media, well, I'm not surprised with the mainstream media. In fairness, I'm not surprised with the mainstream media. Why I'm not surprised with the mainstream media? Because they're towing the line, guys. They're towing the line simply so that they don't get on the wrong side of the football authorities. They want to stay in the clique. They want to stay clicky with them. So they don't care about you. All they care about with you is making sure that they get your subscription charge. All they care about off you is making sure that you keep paying to see those games on TV. That's all these mainstream media companies care about, getting your money. They don't care about standing up for what you believe is the traditions of the game. Now, for me, guys, I can't believe that more people on YouTube are not highlighting this. It's an absolute disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace. We should not be seeing managers not allowed to speak freely after games. We should not be seeing that a referee prioritizes giving a yellow card to stamp his authority on the game above refereeing the game to the professional standards that we expect. It is just not acceptable. Please, guys, tell me what you're feeling. I want to hear from you. Drop your comments in the chat. I'd love to hear from you. Stevie's with us. Stevie saying hi. Gaz and chat, how's it going? Stevie, thank you for being with us. Partsport saying hi, Stevie. And also, Stevie returning that consideration. Thank you for dropping in, Partsport. And always a pleasure to have you with us, Stevie. I am shocked. I'm shocked, guys. I'm really shocked at this. I'm disgusted. I'm ashamed of these referees. And another thing that we need to highlight, guys, with regards to referees, while I'm ranting, I'm here especially to rant about the referees. Why? I'm ranting because I'm so frustrated that no mainstream media companies are highlighting these issues. This is not correct. We expect players to play to a professional standard. If they don't, we criticize them. We expect a manager to show professional standards. If we don't, we criticize them. So how is it acceptable that when referees don't referee to a professional standard, they think they're above the criticism? They're suppressing it by booking managers, by booking players, and not allowing them to express their freedom of expression, to express how they feel. It's disgraceful, guys. Yes, we don't want players being abusive to referees. We wouldn't accept that. I would never condone that. I would not condone that in any way, shape, or form. And we don't want to see violent conduct in the game. None of us want to see that. If you're a true football fan, you don't want to see that. So we're not here arguing that players should have the right to get aggressive with the referee. We condone that. We condemn that. We condemn that all the way. That is not acceptable that referees are threatened on the pitch. But nobody's threatening the referee, guys. Nobody's threatening the referee. We're not seeing players threaten the referee. We're not seeing managers threaten the referee. What we're seeing is managers and players getting frustrated with the officiating they're experiencing on the pitch. It is not correct. We're seeing decisions one week going one way and the next week it's going the other way. In other words, the referees are not showing consistency with their decisions that they're making. So if you're just joining us, guys, and you've missed the live, please do drop your comments in the chat below, in the comment section below. Would love to hear from you. Fans deserve a voice in football. If the football authorities are not going to allow our clubs to express their opinion, if the football authorities are not going to allow the managers, the players to express their emotions, to have the freedom of expression, the freedom of speech, then us as fans have to stand up to this, guys. And the only way to do it is fans showing the support to your team when you get a bad decision. When you get a bad decision, you as a fan are not threatening the referee. You are not threatening the referee, but you have the right to boo the referee if he makes a bad decision. If players cannot express when they are frustrated with the referee, if managers cannot express when they're frustrated with the referee, then it falls to the fans. And the only way to do that, guys, is make that atmosphere so hostile in the stadium and I'm not saying violence. I would never, ever encourage anybody to use violence. That is not acceptable. We're not encouraging that whatsoever. What we're encouraging, or what I'm encouraging you to do, guys, is start booing the referee. Make the atmosphere hostile towards the referee if he is having a bad game. If he is showing more consideration to his authority on the pitch and less consideration to officiate in the game in the correct and proper manner to the standards that we expect, then you as fans have the right to show that in the stands. You have the right to express your frustration by booing and by showing your passion in the stands with your voice. Please be clear on that, guys. With your voice, not with any objects thrown onto the pitch. We would never encourage you to do that. Remember, your players are on that pitch. We want to keep players safe and fit. We want to keep referees safe and fit. We want to keep managers safe and fit. But we cannot keep tolerating this, guys. We cannot keep tolerating managers being stopped from speaking out freely and expressing their freedom of opinion after games. We cannot keep ignoring that players are getting punished because they express a bitter frustration on the pitch because of a bad decision by the referee. Anthony Taylor in this game, guys, showed absolute shocking decisions. I'm going to try and highlight for you guys a little bit some of the stats that happened in that game. It's just, as I say, for me, I'm stunned. I'm absolutely stunned that we're having to tolerate this. I'm going to quickly share the match stats on screen so you guys can see how that game went with stats. Hopefully you can see that. But please, guys, I'm going to call it a day. I've been on now for 20 minutes ranting and raving. Maybe I've not expressed myself perfectly, but I can't help it, guys. I can't help it. I am a true believer. I grew up watching all these speeches by Winston Churchill and Roosevelt expressing our rights to freedom of speech, expressing our rights to freedom of expression. And in the 21st century, we're seeing that is now going the other way. We're seeing that politicians, we're seeing that football authorities stopping people speaking out freely, stopping people from having the freedom of expression that you have a God-given right to, guys. You are not allowed to be gagged, and we shouldn't. I'm disgusted that we're seeing it creep into football so much. I do not like the fact that my manager of my club or any manager of any club doesn't have the right to come out after a game and express their frustration freely without consequence. There's an old saying, guys, sticks and stones may break your bones, but words can never hurt you. We need to get back to this kind of old school thinking, guys, because how is it right that a manager is not allowed to come out after a game and express? I just watched the interview with Jurgen Klopp coming out after the game. You could see him tiptoeing around his responses. He was asked questions in the interview, and he was tiptoeing around those questions to make sure he didn't say nothing that was going to get him in trouble. How is that right, guys? We shouldn't have to accept this. We shouldn't have managers not allowing to freely express themselves after the game. It is not right. And us as fans should be calling this out, guys. Why? Because do you not want to hear what your manager's honest assessment of the game is? I want to. I want to hear if my team lose or they win, particularly if they lose, you want an honest explanation from the manager. You don't want the manager being punished and fined £30,000 off the football authorities just because he spoke his honest opinion. That's suppression of freedom of speech. Doesn't matter which way you cut it, it is suppression of freedom of speech. So for me, guys, I think we need to come together as a fan community. We need to start coming up with solutions to counterbalance this. I'm not condoning any violence, nothing like that. Don't do anything that's going to get you in trouble at the ground, guys. But if you see a referee at your club's ground making a bad decision, you have the right to voice your opinion. If that means you boo the referee, you boo the referee. It's about time referees started knowing that they are part of the game. They are not the main focus of the game. And the way we're seeing it, guys, these football authorities and the way that we've seen the football officials come into this season, we've seen it right off the bat in the Tottenham-Liverpool game early in the season. Referees making really bad decisions in the first few games of the season. Why? Because they were more focused. It was so obvious that the FA or the football authorities that manage the officials on the pitch had encouraged the officials to clamp down on dissent. In other words, clamp down on the right of freedom of expression and the freedom of speech. As long as you are not threatening the referee in a violent way or being abusive to the referee, then a player, a fan, a manager should have the right to express their verbal opinion freely without consequence. As long as you are not being abusive, there shouldn't be a problem with it. If there's a problem with it, it's because the football authorities don't like the fact that you're saying it as it is. That is the bottom line, guys. They don't like the fact that you, as a fan, they don't like the fact that the managers, as a person, and the players, as a human being, are expressing their frustrations towards the referee freely. And that is everybody's right. If you live in Britain, if you live in America, you live in Canada, you live in any country that is claiming to be a free country, then you have the right to express your frustration. And this applies to managers and players as well. It is not acceptable that we continue to see this, guys. And it's about time. If you're a YouTuber, show your frustration with this. Speak out. Use your channel to speak out against this, guys. We do not have to be suppressed about this. You have the right, as long as you do it in a correct and proper manner, you have the right of freedom of expression. That's what millions of people died for in 2 world wars, for your right to have freedom of speech. And if the football authorities don't respect that, then they don't deserve to have the power to officiate the games. It's as simple as that. So the question I've got to ask you guys, is this something that clubs need to come together on? Do we need to see clubs coming together to make a stand against the football authorities? Do we need to see fans taking responsibility for this and speaking up against the football authorities? Or do we need to go right down to the bare bones of the problem and have a complete overhaul of the football structure and the football officiating and the way it's managed and the football and the FA structure? It's just, I'm shocked, guys. I'm shocked. But that's it from me, guys. Not a lot going on in the chat, but I would love to hear your opinions on this. Please do drop your comments in the comment section below. I would love to hear from you. You might not agree with what I've got to say, and that's fine. That's fine. You have the right of freedom of speech to express why you don't agree. As long as you put it correctly, as long as you explain yourself in an articulate and adult manner with respect, I will hear any criticism to anybody that's got criticism to what I'm saying. But if you agree with me, drop your comments below. If you don't agree with me, drop your comments below. I want to hear from you guys. It is no longer acceptable that we keep ignoring this, guys. We have seen it creep into the game this season and last season, and it's only going to get worse. And if we don't make a stand against it now, it's going to continue. So please do drop your comments in the chat, guys. I would love to hear from you. I want to hear how you guys feel about this, because for me, it is the biggest thing in the football right now that we need to deal with. It's no longer acceptable to keep allowing managers to be accountable, players to be accountable, fans to be accountable, but yet no accountability to referees. No accountability whatsoever for referees. It's just, this is an absolute disgrace, guys. And it's about time we see everybody, whether you're a YouTuber, whether you work on the mainstream media, TV, wherever you work in sport, speak up against this, guys. If you're a football fan, speak up against it. Send a letter to your club. Send an email. Register a complaint wherever you can, guys. Express your opinion when you go on the mainstream media. Criticize the mainstream media for not exposing this, for not clamping down on it, for not fighting for what rights fans have as football fans to expect the freedom of speech towards players and managers. It cannot continue, guys. And if you don't speak up about it, guys, it is only going to creep into the game more. So please do drop your comments below. Would love to hear from you. Apologies, I might not be at my normal etiquette self, but as I say, guys, that's why I've come on to do this post-match show, because I'm frustrated with this. I am extremely frustrated about this, guys. I don't agree with referees. I believe we should always show respect to referees. I totally agree with that. Absolutely. But there is an element of this, guys. It's give and take. Football authorities want respect. Well, if you want respect, earn it. Earn it. That's what I've got to say to these power trip referees and these football authorities that are encouraging managers and players, that are encouraging the referees to clamp down on free speech and expression of players and managers. We need accountability from these referees. If players are accountable, managers are accountable, fans are accountable, then why should referees not be accountable? It's not acceptable that they're not accountable, guys. So please do drop your comments in the chat below. I would love to hear from you. Thank you very much for dropping in, guys. Really do appreciate your amazing support. Big shout out to all the regular Fondanners. Hopefully I hear some responses from you guys in the comment section below. But that's it from me for now, guys. Hopefully you do drop your comments below. I would love to hear from you. Please do join me on the next match along. The next match watch along. I would love to have your company and conversation as always. If you're new to the channel, please do consider hitting that like button and subscribing. We would love to welcome you to the Fandom community. But as I say, guys, that's it for me for now. Please do drop your comments below, and hopefully I will see you guys on future streams. Bye for now.